Hello, everyone. Welcome to chapter 238 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition, and wow, what a weekend we have going here. We're getting this mid or late winter blast. It's already the end of April, and we still have snow on the ground, and we're getting more of it as we speak. So it's a perfect day to be in the shop working on a project. So, if you want to see what that project is today, all you need to do is stay tuned. Well, yeah, as you can still see in the background, we've got, well, what I'd call an April blizzard. Not uncommon, not unheard of in this part of the woods, but hey, it's getting to be the end of April. We've already seen the dirt this year. It was time that it would go. But it's hopefully this is the last little blow of the year and we can get into spring. So anyway, I thought, well, I can't really do any work outside today because I've kind of started to be shifting gears that way already. Yes, my cabinet job is still ongoing here. We've been picking up some pieces for it in Saskatoon yesterday. But basically, I'm going to shortly shift into spring mode here. But I thought it's blowing and snowing today, be a perfect opportunity to come into my shop and kind of finish off the explanation behind these hollowing tools. Yeah, I know it's been a few videos now, and we started out by making the cutter, and then we made the handle. And I didn't show you the receiver yet, and I think in a future video I will, because I'm going to have to make a few more of these receivers for my full set of 8 tools. So, um, excuse me, that's possibly a future video, but really not a necessary video to be able to make these tools. You could just take the tool iron itself here, drill a hole in the handle and epoxy it in. It would be just fine. That would work. But anyway, the last thing on the list then to finish this tool off is the bent neck here. So I thought I would show you how I do that today. And that's where we're going to head. And then possibly in the future, if I ever do get organized, I want to start arranging my videos into playlists. And this hollowing tool would have its separate playlist. So if you wanted to see the tool from start to finish, you could do it that way. I realize I shoot videos in uh, nonsensical order at times. Like it doesn't really make much sense. But at shooting 2 videos a week, I'm a little under the gun all the time. I kind of shoot what I can shoot on that given day. So this is why we're getting the bend today. So anyway, um, yeah, so that's what we're going to do next. And we're going to start bending the 1/2 inch steel that I use to make the gooseneck kind of thing. And we'll drill and tap a hole for the cutter and actually make a recess where the cutter sits. And we'll get that all done this afternoon. So if you are interested in this and are thinking of building your own tools, if you're interested in building your own tools, let's put it this way, I'd watch this video. Okay, we'll see you in a bit as I get started. Well, I did a little bit of work off camera yesterday. I made myself a little bending jig here. So this is just scraps I have laying around. I really try to kind of a little bit hoard used steel. I have a storage for my used steel between my two mechanics tool chests here. There's about a foot in between, and I have some sheet metal U-shapes bent so I can throw different shorts in there. And it really comes in handy. Steel is expensive, and if I can just have it here for free, it makes my life so much easier. So anyway, this is just a piece of I think it's 3/16 thick by 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Not sure where it's from. Like I say, it's been salvaged from somewhere. And these two pieces are 1/8 inch hollow tube. They're actually cut off of this old bandsaw fence that I kept. Surprise, surprise. And welded those on. Now, the welds, and it's good you're far away because the welds are far from perfect. If there are any welders that are watching my content, please let me know in the comments what I can do as a senior experienced welder to make it so that I can see the puddle when I'm welding. I guess I need to spend some time playing with my helmet and trying to figure things out. But if there's a way to cheat, and yes, I've used the cheater lenses already, I've done that. If I can see, I can weld, but when I can't see, it looks like this. But anyway, just an aside. So I just welded those on. Now, there are other ways you could make this jig. If you wanted to do these tools, but you don't have access to a welder, I would say a short piece of, I'm used to calling it handy angle. It's metal angle. You can buy it at the Orange store or any other construction store. And it's got holes drilled in it. Often it's used for hanging garage door tracks, garage door openers, things like that. But if you had a foot of that and two bolts that went through, and you just put a nut on from the top and made your two posts that way, I think that would work. Um, Now, if you had more heat than I'm going to have today with this, it would work even better. So, but anyway, we'll talk about heat just a little bit later. So I made this jig. Another way of making this jig, if you would have access to a welder, is just figure out about what diameter this is and put a piece of pipe like that on here. Make a little post that captures the end and then just bend it around, because that would give you a more consistent tool. The way I'm going to do it, there is going to be variation between them. And this one I bent at school and I heated it with oxyacetylene. And oxyacetylene heats this really nice and really fast. And it makes it, well, you could make this just fall from its own weight. It'll get that liquid. But this doesn't get as much. So there the curve is a little different, but I don't think that matters. Actually, this curve is much more like this curve. They're quite similar. So anyway, um, so you could make this jig without having to weld. Now, the metal that I'm using, again, salvaged. So I don't know where I got this stuff. I'm not too proud to admit that some days when I ended up hauling yard material to our local town landfill or dump, there's a big section there for metal. And I will sometimes go through it and look at what's there. And it's amazing what some people throw away. Like this probably came from some type of hand railing or something, like it's painted. And it's wonderful. Like it's really good 1/2 inch steel. It's only been used once. So what I did is I cut this into lengths. Now I had another one like that, and I cut it into 11-inch lengths. Why 11 inches? Because that worked out to get 3 of them out of a length like this. I think I had about an inch or 2 left over. So I cut those out, and I just did that with my cutting disc on my angle grinder. Even though I have other ways of cutting metal in this shop, I'm really tempted to start kind of getting rid of some of those things, because 9 times out of 10, when I'm cutting now, I'm using a cutting disc on my angle grinder. It works just great, and it's minimal time to set up and use. So I like that. The next thing that I did, I went to my wire wheel, which I have just behind me in my shop here, and I got all the paint off of it. Because when you're heating things, I don't want to have paint burning off in here, because I don't want my smoke detector going all the time when I do this. So here's a blank that's kind of ready to go. The only thing I need to do yet is do a little bit of grinding on the edge. When I finish doing this, I was doing this yesterday evening, and I really don't like to do any process with sparks in the evening in my shop. Okay. I like to do those in the morning. But anyway, so that has to happen yet. Um, the gas I'm using for heat, the torch, is this is supposed, I always bought this, the yellow can. Okay, that's MAP gas. Well, when you read carefully here, it says a modern substitute for MAP. Now, MAP, in my belief, burns hotter than your standard propane torch. So that's why I use MAP in here, because I really don't want to get into having an acetylene torch. Would I love to have one? Yes. But for what I do with it, it's not worth it. Although now, with a reputable supplier in Saskatoon where I can buy tanks at a reasonable price, I'm still not going to go that route. So we're going to use this. So this is something you can go to your local big box store and buy. All right. So I think, oh, and this actually serves two purposes. I cut the end off of it, but I'm also using this for leverage. So when I'm bending this, I put that pipe on the end, and then I can bend a little easier, because this gas is a lot slower than what I'm used to. Oxyacetylene, like I said, is perfect for this. But you need to have it, your jig, so see, you can move this a little bit, and you can change this radius by how you're bending it. And then at the end, I found that I always have to go back and kind of straighten the hand, or the length here, the shaft part of it. So it's a better match for this one, but it's close enough, you know. And the other thing is, I have a feeling that, like, what should happen, and what I've been told anyway, is that when you sight down the shaft, you should hit, the cutter should be there. So I might have to cut that a little bit. Like, if you don't get the bend in exactly the right place, you can just take and cut a little bit off the tip here and get the geometry correct. That should work. So I'll see how this one works out, but we're going to make one of these. So yeah, I have the steel ready to go. Like I say, all I've got to do is go to the grinder and grind a little bit. I like to work with kind of finished edges. And I'm not going to show you that because it's boring. So when I bring you back, we're going to light the torch and we're going to make a bend. Well, it's time to light the torch. The little jig I made here also makes kind of a nice stand to hold the piece while you're heating it, because it is going to get hot. And I'm just going to slip on a pair of welding gloves here. These are fairly light welding gloves. They're actually TIG gloves, but I found that I really like them better than standard gloves, because I don't weld that much anymore. So anyway, and the other thing that's going to happen here, and I'm going to apologize for this in advance. I notice sometimes when I shoot video, my head's cut off or the action's out of frame for a while. I'm sorry about that, but it is difficult to shoot these on your own without taking a million retakes. So I try to do it in, one preferably, or three at the most takes, and sometimes I just don't get it right. So my apologies in advance if that happens. And also, this heating is going to take a while, and you're going to see me just moving the torch back and forth. After I do that a few times, you're going to get the picture of that. Now, either I'll speed it all up or I'll chop a section out, because I don't think we need to see all of this. But I like having this kind of a torch head, because all I have to do is hit the button and it turns on. So just going to adjust the cap there, make sure that's tight, and away we go. Like I said, this is going to take a while. You want to heat about the first 6 inches. And I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but this is the way I do it. You see, it's the steel changing colors that indicate different temperatures. I hope you can see this. Oops, not quite the bend I wanted. We're going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to bend it back just a little bit. I hope you can see this. Oh, that's better. Okay, let's see if we can bend this back a little bit. There we go, that'll do. Sorry about that. It's getting a little cooler now. And I can feel it when I bend it, so I have to move this right up to there. That is a little hard on the welding gloves. Okay, I'm still not quite where I want it. You kind of have to work quickly here too. That's getting pretty close, I think. I'm going to give it a little bit more. There we go. Okay, it's got a little bit of a bow in it too, but I'll straighten that out on my little anvil later. That actually looks pretty good. But see, it's this way now. That's a relatively easy fix if I left all my tools out from the other day. If you're going to do some metal work, I apologize, this isn't the right hammer for this, but I want to do this while it's still okay. Let's just see. This is one I bent yesterday. Okay, let's look at those closely. I think I need a little bit more bend in there yet. It's cooling off quite a bit here. I might have to heat it again to do this. It's not bending on the top where I'd like it to. There, that's bent. And I don't need much. Nope, now it's got to come back. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of fooling around. It's kind of fun, actually. I hope I'm doing this, showing you this well in the video. Are we there? Okay, where is the bent one? Okay, it's more like this other one. And I don't have enough back bend in here yet. So I need to do this again. This piece of pipe is extremely helpful. Slide it right up. It's a little different. I think if I want to do more, mine gets still pretty hot. Let's just take a second to compare this. Like, they don't have to be identical, but I would like them close. Okay, I think I need more bend there. We're going to try this yet, but I have a feeling it's getting a little too cold now. Now, let's pull this back a little bit. It's amazing how much working time I'm getting out of this. I really thought, okay, let's try this. It is a little bit hot through the gloves yet. The curve is pretty good. The handle splays out. Okay, but to check it this way, that is actually pretty good. I'm going to tug the handle a little bit further back yet. But I am getting to the point where this is going to be good. I don't know if you can see that side along there, but we should be hitting the tip here. And with the cutter in, we probably are, which is what I want. Yeah, it's getting nice and warm through the gloves. I guess this heated up a little more than I thought it did. I don't know if you can see it. I think I'm good with that. I think that's what we want. Okay, I love bending metal. It's a lot of fun. Come to think of it, I love bending wood too. But that is I'm gonna leave it like that. It's really quite close to the one I bent with this jig yesterday. And I think I'm okay with that. It's almost this shape here, a little more of an even swan shape in it. Whereas this extra one that I bent at school has more of a pivot to it. I don't know if you can see that. There's the fulcrum right there. So anyway, that was a blast. Yeah, it uses a bit of gas, but hey, if you can't pass gas in the shop, where can you pass it? Okay, I'll be back when probably the next step that I'm going to show you. I don't know if I'm going to spend a lot of time on this, but the next step would be going to the wire wheel and cleaning all the char or whatever this is, the marks off of it, so it looks like this again. That'd be the next step. So we'll see you when we're moving on. 1, 0. Well, I went to the wire wheel and cleaned it up, and it cleaned up nicely. And I did put the marks on it already that I'm going to cut the end here. So in the end, I'm cutting this part here, making that notch about halfway through the bar, and to make the little flat space for the cutter to sit. Okay, so actually I found a good way of doing that here. I just took a marker and slid it along the table, and it draws pretty much exactly the right amount that I'm going to take off. And how far it's going to go, that's about 5/8, 3/4 of an inch. I don't think it's that fussy. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to set that one aside for now. And I'm going to sneak across your view here and my reliable angle grinder with a cutting disc. That's what I'm going to do to get this started. And yeah, gloves are always a good idea. And when you do this, always make sure that you're paying attention to where your spark stream is going. And this is still fairly early in the day here. So I will be in the shop the rest of the day to make sure that everything's safe when I leave the shop about 9 or 10 tonight. Okay? So anyway, one other thing I should say, just in case I forget it in editing. That last segment that I did where I heated this, that took me 17 minutes on my camera in real time. So if you're wondering about how long to heat, about 15 minutes. Did it really nice. It stored heat and bent for a long time. I was quite surprised about that. Okay, now we're going to cut. So here we go. Always be careful when you do this. Make sure you have a good hold on the grinder. Whoops. Well, that should have fallen off by now. Okay, I got to come down from the top just a wee bit more. There we go. Mhm. I think that's going to be good. We'll just grind a little bit to make it nice, smooth, and flat, and then we'll drill and tap a hole to put the cutter on. Okay, we'll be back. All right, I'm getting ready to drill the hole. Now, I believe, yeah, it's a 5/32 bit that I used, and this is a 1024 screw that I'm going to use, little hex head like that. And they're 1/2 inch long, which is a little bit too long. But I find if I just go to the grinder and grind that off, or take the cutting disc and cut it off, it works fine. And then you unscrew it, and it'll go back in to exactly the right depth the next time. So that's good. Um, and to measure the tap, I usually just take my digital caliper and measure from what I call the minor diameter, which is kind of the inside of the threads of the tap, not the outside. And that seems to work fairly well if you're not sure, if you don't have a chart or anything that tells you what size hole to drill. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this. I've got center marked, and I've got about 1/4 from the tip and 1/4 from each side, which 1/2 inch. That makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to set these on the other table so they don't vibrate away. And we're going to drill a hole. Just about through. There we go. And the scrap piece underneath protects my wonderful little drill press table here. Okay, well, I slid a little bit to the back, but that isn't going to matter. My center punch must not have been quite right on, but that's still going to be just fine. So we're just going to get this on the floor so I can sweep it up later. And that's that. Okay, the hole is drilled. I put a little bit of cutting fluid on, and the tap is loaded. So here we go. There we go. Oops. It's this wrench isn't holding this really well. Well, let's tighten that up a little bit. Okay, let's try this again. One thing I may have to do is invest in a couple of good tap wrenches. This one just does not hold like it should, and it's slipping again. If I go really easy, I might get through this, but maybe not. Yeah, it'll go through. There we go. I'm through. Oh, not quite. There we go. And the threads are in. So the only thing left to do is put the cutter on. I think we're going to put it in the handle and everything. Oh, there is one more little thing to do, and I'll explain it when I'm doing it. Well, like I said, I had one more partial hole to drill, and I'll show you that. It's right where my finger is. Hopefully you can see that. And what that hole does is the set screw from the receiver is going to go into that. And what that's going to do is it lets me know at about what angle I've got the cutter, because I can see this from the outside. It also serves to hold the cutter in place. Initially, when I thought of this design, I thought for these hollowing tools, I might put two set screws in. But then I remembered that the first ones I had done had that hole in them. And I thought, you know, that's a good idea. I'm just going to do that. So we're going to see how that works, but I think it's going to work really well. So I've got one complete cutter set up here. And I kind of did it in a little bit of an odd order. I think I got it in the hole right away there. So I started with, yeah, that looks pretty good. I started with the cutter, made one of those for you. And then I made the handle. And now I've made the holder. So yeah, kind of backwards. Whoops. Okay, I got to pick that up. And I tried to use similar size handles here. This is hard to hold. I'm going to have to change this here a little bit. Here, this way, this way. There we go. Okay, now there's my set screw and cutter. Come on. I might have to take, oh, there we go. This was one of those ground off set screws that I told you about, so it's exactly the right length. But it doesn't start that well. Okay, so I'm gonna screw this on. Oh yeah, I can get that nice and tight. Ta-da, there it is. One genuine, completely homemade hollowing tool for your inspection. Yeah, and the tip of the cutter is right on the center line. So the bend is okay. Yep, this is gonna work great. The handle, I only have, I think, 2 coats of wipe on poly on, but that black leather dye or that black fabric dye, man, that works good. It it makes it be solidly black, and once I get some shine on there, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, everything looks pretty good. My hope is that in the future, uh, I intend to get back into hollowing. I haven't hollowed anything for quite a while. I'm just really busy all the time, and but I need to get into that again. And the other type of hollowing I want to do yet is with okay, like deeper hollowing either uses a captive system or the arm. Well, I'm not going to be oh man, what was his name? Anyway, he was from Saskatchewan here. He passed away a number of years ago, but he was turning, I don't know, 5 foot high hollow vessels, 16th-inch wall, and then carving that. So I can see him, but again, me and names don't get along well. So anyway, but I have pieces of steel here to make an arm, and that is going to be a project that is upcoming yet. I am going to do that. I keep thinking about it all the time, and every time I think about it, I come up with another way that I'm going to do mine. So that's something to look forward to in the future. But smaller vessels for my smaller lathes, that we could do a class here that people could come out and get some of the basics. And yeah, maybe they'll want to go with a commercial setup with carbide cutters or whatever. But if you have some infrastructure like for sharpening, again, the last class we had, I had one gentleman hollowing on the lathe here, and I could not believe how good these cutters cut. And that got me back into this again, because I had thought I would replace everything with carbides. Not a chance. This works, in my opinion, just as good. So anyway, this is a complete handle. Like I said earlier, eventually I'll put this in one playlist, so if you want to see how this whole thing was built, you don't have to shoot through or search through 238 videos, and you can find it and watch it all. Okay, well, with that in mind, yeah, it's been a wild day out there. It looks like the snow and the wind is settling down a bit, and yeah, it's just the perfect timing. So anyway, this was fun. I enjoy this. This is almost as much fun as turning. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And maybe in the future I'll spin one of these receivers on my metal lathe, and I'll take you along for that. All right, take care. We will see you on the weekly edition sometime in the middle of next week. Take care. Don't get stuck.